Welcome to this quick 30-minute session on how to boost the effectiveness of your marketing function. So if you are new to Bright, hello, welcome. If you have attended any of our webinars or events in the past, welcome back. It's nice to see so many of us on the call today, taking the time out to make sure that we're continuing to learn and reconnect with other marketers as well. So without further ado, I will get started. Why does it matter? Why are we talking about marketing effectiveness today? Why have you all turned up to join me on this call today? So we are talking about effectiveness because we continue to be in the era of less, with marketing budgets down 7.7% of revenue compared to 9% of revenue in 2023. According to a latest Gartner report, the drive for efficiencies from the business is clear. We continue to work with less, we continue to compress our budgets and reallocate resource. So how can we be more effective as a team, not just in how we deliver our marketing, but how we work together? See here, so marketers are also prioritizing AI and its ability to improve productivity. So how can we use this? How do we adapt it into the teams? And how do we continue to grow? Latest report as well on the CMO challenges, which we continue to face, demonstrating return on investment continues to be an issue for marketing teams, whether that's in the digital space or in events. People are still trying to really understand where the spend's going and what we are achieving for this as well. Here's a few reasons why it matters, but what do you get for improving your marketing effectiveness? Why should you be thinking about this as a key element for your success as we move into the second half of the year? So by improving effectiveness of your marketing function, you will see an impact on the top line growth. With teams refocused on what really matters, if they increase revenue, if that's going into new markets, if that's reduced cost per acquisition, we will be refocused as a team on that top line growth, pushing away all other elements that are pushed onto marketing that no longer matter. Efficiency savings. To that point, one client recently shared a story of how they highlighted how many hours were spent and the cost of those hours on the marketing team ordering t-shirts. Quite a classic activity which gets pushed onto the marketing team. As you can imagine, after sharing with the business how much it actually costs the highly skilled marketers to order a load of t-shirts for all the events, they are no longer ordering t-shirts for the event, as it's really clear that this was not a good spend of the time. So a really clear example there of how we can save the marketing team time by highlighting how they are currently spending their time. And here we go. Obviously, we've got here achieve that legendary status. So the kudos, the legendary status that you're looking to bestow upon ourselves as we improve how effective we are as a team. We are always asked to do more with less. It's often a challenge we hear from senior leaders. They throw that around, but rarely does it go beyond cutting costs. So we are looking today at how we can do things other than cutting costs. What else can we do to help improve our efficiencies? And we're not just talking about reducing our headcount, how we can work together as a team. So that's what we'll go through. We'll give you 3 key areas to focus on, some tools that we have developed and come across during our time working with a client, and then some tips on how you can get started with a few things from today. So the top 3 factors here. We are looking at, first of all, those KPIs and being customer centric. A rhetoric that we often talk about at Bright is measuring what matters. Data is incredibly powerful. We have a lot of data available to us as marketing teams. However, focusing on the wrong thing can send us in the wrong direction and ultimately drive bad behaviours. So we're looking to focus on those elements that matter, the pieces that touch the bottom line of marketing. Those may be the cost per acquisition, so removing the focus on specific channels and really just focusing on how much the overall cost is to acquire those customers rather than what specifically happens, say, from social media or from one particular event, bringing that holistic view to really understand how marketing is delivering as a whole. That allows you to take that one step up, step back, empowering the team to deliver as they need to across all the different channels in marketing rather than focusing just on what one is particularly delivering. There you are looking at the round of the results there. But you could also be looking at staying relevant and impactful with those marketing efforts by looking at not just the quantity of leads that are coming through, but the quality. Again, looking at your ICP, really focusing on those customers and thinking what it is that we need to bring in to the market to ensure that we are looking at the right KPIs and right things to deliver the results. A big one for us here at Bright are the agile marketing values. If you have been working with Bright previously, if you have come across this before, you will understand that Agile is a core element of Bright and how we work and how we deliver marketing. It's something that we continue to champion. And there's a really good reason for this, especially when we're talking about effectiveness. Embracing and those values as a team allows you to focus on delivering value and outcome. We're not looking at delivering the number of things that we've delivered as a team. So move away from talking about how many emails were sent, how many social posts have gone out. Like, what was the value of those? What were the outcomes that we delivered from those activities? Reframe how you're talking to focus your team on delivering. Activating. So activating in the market. Using those agile methodologies, we're talking here about working as a cross-functional team, setting your team up for success to reduce those the friction or the silos that can come with a large global organization, and ensuring that you are all focused on the same piece. So building those agile teams, working in sprints, working together to create that culture of delivering at pace and focusing on those KPIs. So these agile values really support that first column there of those KPI functions. And finally, within agile, we talk a lot about the growth mindset. One thing that I'm sure we have all experienced in marketing over the last 4 or 5 years is the constant change and the need for the teams to build up resilience to this change, whether that's a restructure of your team, whether that's a refocus of the business strategy, or potentially introducing new technology. Change is always happening within marketing, and the efficiencies and effectiveness of how you work as a team can often be lost when we get focused on the change process itself rather than embracing what the new thing is and how we can move those things forward. So we often find that with our clients, we can get stuck very much talking about the impact of the change, and rather than getting on and moving forward and saying, right, we're adapting, we're taking this in our stride, we're reframing how we work, and we're moving forward as a team. The final element here of those top 3 factors that help improve our marketing effectiveness is optimizing your resources. And yes, we are mentioning AI here as well. So organizational structures traditionally in marketing are quite centralized and perhaps haven't been reviewed for many years. The teams tend to work in their own ways. We've been creating silos. We have refocused around the wrong elements of the marketing. Perhaps we're very focused on driving leads, but we're not looking at quality. So what is it you're focused on as a team? How are you structured? And is that the best structure for delivering the marketing that we need to as a team? Often we see very traditional hierarchies However, that doesn't mean that needs to be how you structure moving forward. Think radically about how you work. Consider how teams can coexist, how they can move closer to each other within the processes, to share knowledge, to reduce those silos, to reduce friction in how you work. And at the point of those agile values, they're getting things out into market faster, testing, and allowing you to learn as a team. Planning, always planning. We have to ensure that plans are in place, but we're able to review and iterate. Again, embracing those agile ways of working, having that growth mindset to allow you to adapt and change and refocus. That's what we will be needing to do in order to be more effective as a team. Finally, we will touch on those AI pieces here. So as we mentioned at the beginning, there are a large percentage of companies who are looking at AI, and majority of them are seeing that the way that it can help a marketing team is actually by improving productivity. That is what we're seeing across a lot of our clients and ourselves within Bright. So we are testing a lot of different technologies and how they can play a role in enhancing our marketing capabilities. So that could be how they analyze data. That could be how we can personalize some interactions with customers. That could also be how we streamline how we work. For example, you might find within some tools you already work within, there are automations in place that allow for work streams to be smoother, that allow for teams to work remotely but connect with each other. So looking at how AI and those new releases within your existing tech, not just new tech, can help you to improve how you work together as a team. Perhaps you're not fully using your existing tech stack. I'm sure we are all using a tiny bit of the very expensive technology that we have already available to us, but haven't really taken the time to pause and say, what does this do? How can this help us improve? And can I test it in a way that allows us to see real results within our team and allows us to understand what we are doing as a team to be more effective and efficient. Finally, on the optimizing your resources, the only way you can optimize is if you first have a base level. So consider how you can measure your existing level of work, whether that's the output or the outcomes that come from the team, whether that's time spent on particular activities, grouping your team around this initiative to say, how can we review what we do and how can we make sure we're releasing more of our time to do the engaging things we want to do as a team rather than spending all of our time on perhaps more admin related activities that we shouldn't be spending time on. So those are your top 3 areas: your KPIs and being customer centric, embracing your agile marketing values, which if you would like to learn more about that, we have plenty of content available for you for those ones. Optimizing that resourcing and leveraging those AI. So really that functional element there as well within the team. Bigger changes required for some of that, but definitely some elements there that you can improve on from today. So here we go. So take a moment. We're coming to the end of the month. I'm sure that the majority of you have end of month report coming out for your marketing. Take a really critical review. Consider holding a retrospective meeting that looks at how you are actually reporting on your marketing. Strip it back. Consider taking out 50% of the data that you currently report on and look at the other 50 and say, what does this tell us? What story is this telling us? What are we focusing on? Are we driving the right behaviors that we want to see that will impact the business bottom line? If they're not, take them out. We don't want to be reporting on those. They're not useful. They're not the things that driving what we need to do. You'll have more efficiencies with less reporting, but you'll also have more efficiencies as you focus people into that area that really is driving those results. Asking the right questions. Check what you're asking. Check what you're being asked to report on. Check what you're being asked to deliver as a team. What is it that the business really wants from you? And if it doesn't match what you're moving towards from a bottom line, push back. Marketing needs to be the innovators. If you're there, innovate. Consider how you can be the ones to ask the right questions and really test the status quo so you can change how you do things, so you change how the business moves forward. And to that point, testing. Test those new tools, create some contained experiments that allow you to really test perhaps some Gen AI that will help with some ideation around how you might want to go to market with some particular technology, give you some ideas on how you might want to talk to your target audience. Perhaps you've got stuck in a bit of a rut with how your content is being created and you want to change up the tone slightly. How can we do that? How can we use the tools to help us bring some new ideas into our team and just test it in a really small contained way, but that helps to understand we can make some decisions based on the data we get back from those tests rather than going with our gut and jumping into just the new tech without having made any review of whether it really is right for us. So hopefully that gives you some ideas on how you can make some improvements from today. A few other elements that could be helpful that we have created over the last few years to help our clients, which we are making readily available to the group here today. We work with our clients to help them understand what is stopping them from being effective. What element of their marketing isn't working? What's really the thing within the wheel that's stopping you to moving forward? So with the wheel in mind, this is what we created, this agility enablement wheel that helps to review how your marketing teams are functioning against these core areas, each one being equally important. You can see the balance here. We've got the culture and mindset of their teams. Is that a barrier? Is that an enabler? Do they have that growth mindset? Are they able to adapt and embrace new ways of working? Collaboration. Do they work together? Are they accountable for the work that they're doing? Are you enabling an environment which allows people to put their hands up to say when things haven't worked, but share their learnings and how they can move forward? What tools and tech and data do you have available? Is it readily available to everyone, or is it hidden within a piece of software that you have to speak to IT about in order to understand what it is your customers are actually engaging with, what it is your target market might be looking for and clicking on around the website? Does the website team keep that information? Is it something you can pull out? How is that information shared across the team? Which brings me onto those structure and processes. Does the structure enable collaboration? Does it enable people working together and sharing of those really key pieces of information that help us to make the decisions we need? So consider how you lead. Consider how you govern your teams and making sure that they are guided by those business visions and goals. If any of these areas are not within your remit, they should be. If you're a marketing leader, you should be able to have at least some influence on these areas within marketing. If not, really consider how your team is being structured. So that's the big piece. That's a big element there of something that you need to review. Something a little bit easier, a little bit lighter, but just as handy to use are the reframe cards. So they're a really easy tool that you can use with your team in meetings, in workshops. They're designed to spark new conversations. They're designed to get your team to think differently, to get you to think differently, to open up conversations. I'm sure you have teams of very experienced marketers who perhaps are not open to sharing their ideas anymore. Perhaps they're not open to having the difficult conversations. These cards are there to spark new ideas, spark those conversations, to reframe the problem, to not just keep addressing the same problem in the same way. We have seen these really simple and easy tools be incredibly effective with marketing planning sessions on how you can be more efficient as a team. You uncover areas that people are spending a lot of time on, but they thought could never be changed. So perhaps the PO process is incredibly time consuming, and people are entering things in multiple different places around different systems, and nobody knew because everybody just took it as the way that they work, and they kept doing it that way. So opening up the conversation, using these cards to spark those different ideas is just such a great tool. And I think Paul has put those in the chat for you all, so I hope you all take those away and start using a few of them from today. Now, this one is certainly not ours, but it is incredibly useful. Marketing, we talked about t-shirts earlier, ordering t-shirts, marketing tend to get all the jobs. We get a lot of things, and when the business reprioritizes and when things change, you tend just to get more. Rather than taking things away, we just add more to the pile, reducing the amount of time we can focus on delivering anything of quality. We would encourage you to use a prioritization framework. We find that RICE works really well for us and for most of our clients as well. Looking at whether the project has the reach, the impact, and are we confident that it's actually going to deliver? What amount of effort is it going to take to deliver? Just a really simple activity to give each element of those a score tells you quite quickly what you should or shouldn't be working on. Because if the impact is low, but the effort is high, that project needs to be shelved. Really have a look at that. It's a really great tool. Again, so simple to use. Bringing it into your everyday as you work will allow your teams to prioritize perhaps on the monthly basis to review what it is you've got planned and keep things focused. Now, if all those tools feel a little bit overwhelming and you do feel like you need some external help, then obviously Bright are here to help. We do have a marketing effectiveness workshop, 2 hours, looking at bringing the team together, just over a really short session really for 2 hours to bring everybody into one space, really shake up your ways of working. External facilitators tend to really help with this kind of activity to get people to open up and embrace new things and focus on specific goals to empower your teams to move forward. Sometimes it can feel counterintuitive to be more effective and deliver more. You actually need to step back, but that's what this session does. It makes everybody step back and reconsider what it is you're delivering and why you're doing it. And finally, we also have a effective marketing effectiveness assessment tool. So we can use this to review any growth opportunities, understand in a more in-depth report. So this is a really good tool if you're looking to get buy-in from the wider business. The workshop, I would say, is great for a team and collaborating and bringing them together, but the effectiveness assessment is more if we're looking to build a business case for how we want to move a team forward to change their ways of working and perhaps even restructure from an operational point of view of how you deliver. So a few elements there that you can do yourself, and then some elements there that you may want some additional support with from the Bright team who are here to help. Now we have about 5 minutes left of the session. I'm just going to check no questions coming in, but please do pop any in the chat if you do have any. Thank you, Paul, for sharing all of those links. So if you're in the call now, you can jump in and access any of those elements that we've talked about and chat through anything. If anybody has any questions on marketing effectiveness and how that might be achieved for you and your team, please do pop any questions in. If you do not, then we will be sharing again all of this in a follow-up email. So if you miss any of the links, please don't worry about that. We will be sharing it after. And the final thing is we will also be sharing a reading list. So this has been a light touch session today to go over the main topic, but we will be sharing a reading list that will help with everybody to help understand a little bit more if you want to dive in deeper into the topic yourself. Okay, well, I will let everybody jump off and enjoy lunch breaks, and hopefully we'll get to connect. I think Paul put my LinkedIn in there, so connect and speak with you all further at a later date.